Hi, everyone. My name is Allison Jones, and I'm an attorney at Legal Aid Society of Middle Tennessee in the Cumberlands. I work in our health benefits and education practice, and one of the things that I help people access is SNAP benefits or food stamp benefits. I know that for those of you who utilize the SNAP program, this has been a really difficult month. I know that there are many of you who may still be waiting to get your November benefits after the government shut down. I want to let you know that for those of you who are still dealing with issues from the shutdown, Legal Aid Society is a resource for you. You can call us if you are still experiencing a delay in your payments, if you have maybe just discovered that your recertification didn't go through in October and now you aren't getting November benefits at all. You can call us if you think maybe you got an overpayment in November. We've heard that from a handful of folks that they think maybe they got their partial payment and then their full payment on top of that. We can talk you through what your options are in that situation. But for the rest of this afternoon, I'm going to talk about another SNAP issue that has been kind of in the background since there was a new law passed at the federal level in Washington over the summer. But now, as we go into December, it's going to become more important for everyone on the program. So if you've been on SNAP before, you may know that there are some work requirements for certain categories of people utilizing SNAP. And those have gone by different names. They may be called work requirements, they may be called time limits. It's kind of a combination of those two things. There's an expectation that if you're in a certain age range and you don't meet a list of exceptions, that you are working at least 20 hours per week in order to be eligible for SNAP. If you don't meet that work requirement and you don't meet an exemption from the work requirement, you are limited to receive SNAP for only 3 months in a 3-year period. So that 3-year period is the same for everyone in the state of Tennessee. The current 3-year period started January 1st, 2025 this year, and it will end December 31st, 2027. So depending on your situation, you may have already accrued some of those 3 months if you were enrolled in the program and not meeting the work requirement. The reason why we're talking about it now is because due to the HR 1 federal legislation that was signed into law on July 4th of this year, there's a broader group of people who have to meet that 20-hour-a-week work requirement or meet an exemption in order to continue to receive their SNAP beyond that 3-month limit. So I'm going to talk about how the program has changed, but I also want to really highlight that there are a long list of exemptions. So I want you to think carefully if you think you are in this affected group now, whether you meet one of those exemptions so that you can make DHS aware of it, Department of Human Services, and so you can call us for help if you need help demonstrating that you meet one of these exemptions. All right. So before the change in the law, this work requirement time limit only applied to people who were age 18 to 54. Now it's age 18 through 64. So there's 10 additional years that you may be subject to this work requirement time limit. Before the law changed, anyone living in a SNAP household, now I want to highlight this is not necessarily your child, but anyone living in a SNAP household with a child under age 18 was not subject to the work requirements. Now it has to be a child under age 14. Before the change in the law, any military veteran, regardless of discharge status, was exempt from the work requirement time limit. Veterans are no longer categorically exempt from the work requirement time limit. prior to the change in the law, people experiencing homelessness were categorically exempt from the work requirement time limit. That is not the case anymore. And prior to the change in the law, former foster youth, young adults who had aged out of the foster care system in their state, were not subject to the work requirement until they reached age 24. And that's no longer the case. So what are the current exemptions? What are the remaining exemptions that you can tell DHS about so that you can continue to receive your SNAP benefits if you're not working or you're not able to work and meet that 20-hour-a-week requirement? So the first thing is age. We want to keep in mind that those time limits only apply to a certain age range of folks. You have to be at least 18 in order to be subject to this rule. And if you're over 60, if you're age 65 or older, you're no longer subject to the rule. So between age 18 and 64. If you're outside that age range, you don't need to worry about this. If you're living in a SNAP household with a child under age 14, you don't need to worry about this. Okay, and I said this earlier, but I'll restate it just because I think there is confusion sometimes about this. This does not have to be your child. You do not have to be the parent or guardian or legal guardian of that child. You could be doubled up with your sister and her children, and you all are purchasing and preparing food together, so you are one SNAP household. If your youngest niece or nephew is 12, then your whole household is exempt from that time limit. If you're currently working and you're working 20 hours a week, obviously you're meeting that requirement. But if you're working and earning a certain amount, that may also satisfy the requirement, even if you're not working at 20 hours per week. If you're earning at least $217.50 per week, you may be exempt from that time limit, and you'll want to show DHS proof of your earnings. Are you enrolled in school? If you are enrolled in high school, college, or in any other education and training program, at least half-time, you should be exempt from these SNAP time limits. Do you have any health issues, mental health, physical conditions that make it hard to work? These could be short-term health issues or long-term health issues. If you have an issue that impairs your ability to work, you may be exempt from the time limits. You are going to need to provide proof that you're exempt from the time limit, though. DHS is unlikely to just take your word for it. You'll need to get a note from your doctor or mental health provider. Other proof of your condition that has worked for some of our clients in the past include a summary of a Social Security disability case and the evidence of your disability while you're waiting for that disability to come through. There may be other ways of doing it. The easiest way would be to get a note from your doctor or mental health provider. Are you pregnant? Pregnant people are exempt from the work requirement time limits. Do you get disability benefits like Social Security disability or SSI or VA disability benefits? If you do, you're exempt from the work requirement time limits. Are you in a treatment program for alcohol or drug use? If so, you may be exempt from the time limits as well. If you're not working, but you've applied for or are receiving unemployment benefits, you may be exempt from the time limits. There are a few other less common exemptions, including some new ones for American Indian and Alaska Native communities that are new this year. Those are less common, going to be less commonly used here in Tennessee, But just know that this is not a fully inclusive list. If you have questions about, well, I don't fit into any of those categories you mentioned, Allison, but could you screen just to make sure there's no other way that I might be exempt from this requirement? Again, you can give your local legal aid office a call and we can do a screening for you to see what your options may be. The other thing I want to highlight about this is that working 20 hours per week, which is sort of the baseline requirement, can look like a lot of different things. It might be paid work, work for income, like we would typically think of work. It also might be volunteering. If you're volunteering at your church or at a local food pantry for 20 hours a week and you can document that, that satisfies the requirement for SNAP. If you're doing in-kind work, so perhaps you are providing childcare, you're a grandparent and you're providing childcare at least 20 hours a week for your adult children, that might qualify to satisfy the work requirement. So again, the work requirement applies to a broader range of people, most specifically a broader age range of people and an older age range of people. But for folks who really rely on the SNAP program to meet those basic needs each month, we don't want you to go without. If you think that you may be affected by these time limits, or if you get letters from DHS telling you that your benefits may be ending, please do give us a call and we'll see if you may have an option under this long list of exemptions to continue to receive your SNAP benefits. We'll be doing one of these every week or so, just because there's so much going on in the SNAP program right now, and we want to keep you all informed. So check out our upcoming presentations on other things that are going on in SNAP. And if you have any questions or any case issues, you can always reach out to Legal Aid Society. Thank you so much.